Okay, hello scholars. I'm just going to go through really quickly narrative techniques and narrative devices for your note-taking ability. So let's just go through this really quickly. Narrative devices are tools that allow a reader to experience a story. So anything that makes you feel like you're in a scene is a narrative device. Anything that makes you feel like you're really there. The first narrative device is dialogue. Now, we've already learned about dialogue when we covered plays, specifically Macbeth, but in a play, it's a little different. So in a play, dialogue is two characters speaking. But when we're talking about dialogue in a novel or in a short story, we're just talking about anyone speaking out loud. It doesn't necessarily have to be to anyone. For example, I love you, said Alma. The I love you is what Alma has said out loud. She's not thinking it. We can tell because of the quotation marks. And then said Alma is what's called a dialogue tag. This indicates who is speaking. Usually we want to use a dialogue tag. Sorry, this is in Spanish. And we're going to move forward to description. Description, as we've also learned about in imagery, is any time we're using language to show the reader what the characters are seeing, smelling, hearing, touching, feeling. Basically, if we are talking about the five senses, we are using description. So my example is the coffee was black as night and smelled of earth and flowers. This is telling us what we should be smelling and is in a sense a good description. Here we have it in Spanish. And then now we have something that might be a little familiar. A flashback or a flash forward. Now, a flashback is when a story goes backwards in time. A flash forward is when it goes forward in time. But this is not the same thing as time traveling. So, for example, in the movie Back to the Future, they're not having a flashback. They're literally, the characters are going back in time. In a flashback, you, the reader, are being taken back in time. The characters are not moving in any way. Additionally, a flashback is not someone saying, oh, I remember when this happened, or predicting what will happen in the future. Rather, a flashback takes you fully as a scene into a different time. Flashbacks are pretty common, but one example is in the show 13 Reasons Why. There are a lot of flashbacks to when Hannah Baker was alive. Okay, now we're going to get more on this in the next lesson, but irony essentially is when an audience expects one thing and something different happens. I'll give you an example. Mr. DeFrenza is terrified of getting on a plane. He's super, super afraid of ever getting on a plane. He has to get on a plane, so he gets on it. He's so scared of crashing in the plane. He gets on the plane, he goes to his destination, he gets out of the plane, he's totally fine, and then a tiger eats him, right? This is ironic. We are not expecting him to die from tiger, but from plane. So irony is anytime something unexpected happens. Another example would be perhaps if you go to the dentist, you would expect the dentist to have beautiful teeth, but the dentist has rotten teeth, right? Or a doctor who only eats junk food, right? These are all examples of irony, of the unexpected. And finally, point of view. Now, we're going to go much deeper into this in our next couple of lessons, but for now, point of view is the character or view from which the story is told. So, for example, in Harry Potter, a third-person narrator, right, is telling us the story. They're saying, Harry did this, Harry did that, he did this, she did that. If a story is told from first person, the narrator would be the main character and say, I did this, I did that, I went to the store, etc. Okay, and that's basically it. So now what I'm going to have you do is go into your little example sheet and complete the matching activity. Thanks.